Hello there, welcome back. Now, do you or anyone that you know have a food allergy? I know that many of you will. And today is quite a key day for you, if so, because it's the launch of Natasha's Law. This is basically being launched and created after the family of a teenager who died after an allergic reaction. She ate a baguette from a cafe, I think I'm allowed to say which one, Pret a Manger. Basically, she wasn't aware it had sesame seeds in it, and it did. And very sadly, she died. And like I said, her family have campaigned ever since. This new introduction of this new law, this new food safety law, is in her name, hence the Natasha name, and it's coming to law today. I mean, surely anyone that's got a food allergy or knows someone that has, you know how serious this is. And yeah, surely this can only be a good thing. I think it's had a little bit of criticism from certain food venues who say that they've had a lot to contend with COVID and having to close, etc. And they don't want this complicated law. But I say to them, tough. This is going to help save lives. And I think it's a wonderful thing. It affects any food basically made on premises and pre-packed food as well, made for direct sale. So joining me now to get into this is the Chief Exec of the Food Standards Agency, Emily Mills, and the author of The Reluctant Allergy Expert, Ruth Holroyd. Let me start with you, Emily, if I may. This law today, talk me through, or talk my viewers through, how this is different from how things used to be.
So until yesterday, if your food was pre-prepared and packed but off the premises where you ordered it, it had to be labelled. But if you were in a cafe or a sandwich shop and you ordered the food and it had been prepared on the premises, it didn't need a label. So the change today is that your food, if you order it on the premises and it's already been prepared and it's wrapped, so you have to open or unfold the packaging to get at the food, it now needs full ingredients labelling. And the 14 allergens that are prescribed in law that are the most prevalent need to be described in bold. So that's the change today.
And Emily, how much of a difference do you think this will make for people that has an allergy?
Well, we've got 2 million people with allergies in the UK. That's where they've got an immune system reaction. We've then got millions of people with food hypersensitivity, maybe 600,000 people with celiac disease. We at the FSA estimate 2 children in every school class have an allergy. So for all of them, when they're going into a sandwich shop, a cafe, and they're grabbing food quickly, where they wouldn't perhaps take the time to have a conversation with the person preparing the food, we're hoping that this will give them more information. It means that those who've got allergies and food intolerances can have food that they can trust.
Yeah, and Ruth, you're one of those people, aren't you? You do have food allergies. Tell us more.
Yes, I'm allergic to dairy and nuts, and I get anaphylaxis if I eat those 2 foods. And I have been in intensive care before after restaurants hadn't given me the information that I've needed, despite me asking. So for me, I think this is going to make a huge difference. At the moment, it's quite hard eating out because you just can't get the information that you might need when you're on the go. So to be able to see all the ingredients, and particularly I have one of the top my allergens are in the top 14. But if you're allergic to things outside that top 14, having the full ingredients list will really help those people too. So it's a huge step in the right direction.
And what would you say, Ruth? Because I have seen a little bit of negativity or reluctance, shall I say, from some food outlets that are saying, well, you know, we've had an awful time and now this is an extra layer of thing we've got to consider. What would you say to those organisations?
I would say, look at what happened at Pret. Does anyone else want that to happen in their establishment? I would say everyone that runs a food service establishment wants people to enjoy the food and wants people to be okay and not to be made ill. And people are already doing it. So Pret in particular have taken the law on board and are labelling their products. And there are companies out there that can help you with, systems that you just need to put things in a spreadsheet and it will print a label out for them. It's going to be hard, I understand that, but the alternative is that people's lives are at risk. So, yeah, like you, I agree, it's a bit of a no-brainer. And if you're not ready, if you haven't got that information labelled, you just need to be really honest and say to people, it's not safe to eat, but there are ways of getting around it. And I think it's essential that we do this.
Yeah, and Emily, if someone does go to somewhere for food and they can't see this information clearly displayed, and they ask for it, what should they be expecting to get as a response once they're asking for this information if it's not clearly visible?
So every food business has been required since 2014 to be able to communicate what's in the food, all the ingredients, but they were able to do that verbally or in writing. And that's true even now if you go and buy food that's not pre-packed from a restaurant. But from today, if it's pre-packed, it's sealed, and it's been prepared before you ordered it, it has to have that ingredients labelling on. If you go into a cafe tomorrow and you haven't got that, have a word with the cafe. But if there's a real problem, you report it to your local authority. And the local authority food team, trading standards team, they will make sure that the food business does what it should. We know actually that a lot of food businesses have started doing this already. So we did a survey in spring last year, which said that 3 out of 5 businesses were already labelling all ingredients on food that was pre-packed. And 4 out of 5 businesses were labelling the allergen ingredients. And that was 18 months ago or so. So there's been a huge improvement since then. There's information for how to do it on the FSA website, food.gov.uk. Encourage food businesses to go there and get some more information.
And Ruth, I've just received a comment as we're talking to this now from one of my viewers who's watching this as we speak, and they say, allergies and cafes, there's a very easy solution. Why don't you prepare your own food and take it with you? They say they've got no sympathy for what they're calling hypersensitive pity seekers, and they're saying stop being so fussy. What would you say to that viewer?
So, wow, well, I probably wouldn't want to go out for a meal with that person to any cafe, so that would be the first thing I said. But I think we need to be kind. This is life-threatening. Every day, somebody could make a mistake. It could be me. I've made mistakes myself. Every day, I have to face the fact that a food could kill me, and that's terrifying. And to sit there and say that we're pity-seeking and that we should stay at home, I think is just very cruel and very unkind. And it's said by someone that has no experience of this. If you've seen someone go into anaphylactic shock, if you've held your baby while it's in anaphylactic shock, you would understand. It's life-threatening, it's really important, and God, it just makes me really angry that somebody that doesn't have allergies can sit there and say that.
And
it's
Ruth,
ridiculous.
I think that you hit on the key point there. I think it's perhaps because it's not understood. I think perhaps a comment like that comes from a position of not understanding the true severity. And people can have allergies like this. They don't even sometimes need to consume the food. It's often just about being around it or something like that. Just tell me a little bit more about that before I let you go.
Yeah, it can be airborne. I'm really fortunate. I'm not that bad, but people can have an airborne allergy, and those people probably aren't going out and eating in restaurants. But allergies are really serious. Even a small trace of an allergy could make somebody really ill and put them in A&E and give them an anaphylactic shock. So, yeah, it's real, it's scary. And if you don't know about it, find out about it. Rather than sitting at home and telling us we're all pity seekers, find out about it, find out what it means, and just be kind. And respectful.
I agree with you, Ruth. Emily, Ruth, thank you very much for your time and for sharing your experiences as well. James, you've got an allergy, food allergy, is that right?